Hello, everybody. Jason Sarney here, and welcome to a very special podcast where I'm talking to one of my favorite all-time Miami Dolphins. He is one of the best receivers that ever played for the Orange and Aqua. You hear him weekly on the Fish Tank. You hear him on Friday Fish Bites, and of course, you see him on Twitter talking about our fins. None other than number 81, OJ Juice McDuffie. How are you, sir?
Sarge, what's up, man? I'm good, man. I'm good. How you doing, brother?
Can't complain. You know, a little bit of complaining because football is over, but really for us Finns, really this is kind of just getting started. We got Zach Thomas initiated into the Hall of Fame. We got a fun Dolphins cruise coming up, which we'll talk about. But I know you watched the Super Bowl. Want to talk a little football with you in shop. How do you like that game, Kansas City over the Eagles?
Well, first of all, Sarge, football's never over. The NFL's done a great job of making sure that they occupy every single month of the year so that, it's never out of our mind. And of course, we've been on vacation for a little while longer than we wanted to be, but we're back at it right now, man. So, watching that Super Bowl, man, it gives me hope and inspiration that at one point, someday, you and I will be at the Super Bowl site watching the game because we saw a couple of teams out there, especially like Philadelphia. I love Philadelphia, and they went out there and they played very well, obviously, and Jalen Hurts was incredible. But we saw our team compete against those guys here in training camp. We saw our team do very well against those guys in training camp. And so that tells me how close we are. Of course, we've lost a lot of close games lately, but it also, gives me hope that, we're getting close to where we need to be to compete for those opportunities to play against, the Pat Mahomes and to play against the Jalen Hurts and in big-time games, man. But for me, it's one of the most entertaining games that I had seen. You talk about some incredible quarterback play. You talk about a team in the Chiefs that were hearing all week long, all 2 weeks long, how great the Philadelphia defense is. And they went out there in that second half and just dismantled it. The way they changed their game plan, they figured out what Philly was going to be doing, and they adjusted so well in how to beat some of that stuff, And that's a sign of a great quarterback, a sign of a great coach, and a sign of a great guy in Eric Bieniemy as well. And so that was a fun game, man. I was rooting for the Chiefs anyways, just because of the Trent McDuffie situation. You know what I mean? So Trent McDuffie, he's not family, but man, he spells his name the right way. So I'm a fan of his for life. You know what I mean? So
Heck of a play. Had a great year, Juice.
Yeah, he had a rough Super Bowl. You know what I mean? They picked on him a little bit, but he's got the ring, and that's all that matters. He's a rookie, so he'll get better. But yeah, I thought it was one heck of a game. I thought everything was really, really good, man. From Chris Stapleton's national anthem, to the game itself. I love Rihanna. She's one of my favorite artists of all time. And then of course you come down to a field goal with less than 10 seconds left in the game or whatever it was. You couldn't ask for a better Super Bowl, in my opinion.
Oh, tremendously entertaining. I live here in Philly, so the people around me are a little bummed, but they got a Super Bowl from 2017, so they'll be all right. But
right.
We are still celebrating. We're going to be celebrating all year. We're going to be celebrating all summer. Zach Thomas, your teammate, one of this community's. I mean, everyone was rooting for this man to make the Hall of Fame. It's late, but better late than never, man. What can you say about your teammate, Zach, and how happy you know that he's in the Hall of Fame?
Man, you can see the relief, man. Those tears were tears of, it's about damn time. I knew I deserved it. I know I've talked to Zach, and he knew that there's some other guys that had gotten in, and that's when he realized he had a chance, and he knew he was going to get in eventually. But, man, the waiting he had to go through, but to finally get that call and, and get that visit, it meant the world to him. He's a humble guy, but you can tell that, that's a really important individual award. But in typical Zach fashion, he credits everybody else around him, and it's amazing to me because he's the one that made a lot of guys around him so good, putting them in the right position. The way he studies and added other guys that come study with him. He talks a lot about his pre-snap reads. If he's got everybody on page, on board with his pre-snap reads, and man, that defense gels. I remember so many times, Sarney, when I'm watching a play and our defense seems to be going one way, but Zach's going the other way. And sure enough, Zach's in the right position to make the play. And if it wasn't for him, hell, it could have been a 60, 70-yard touchdown, man. He's always, his preparation was one thing. But, people always just say, prep, guys in front of him, whatever. The thing about Zach, in my opinion, was he was damn good, period. It wasn't about, his size. He was just damn good, man, all the way around. A good hitter. He covered well. He ran better than people want to give him credit for. He was sideline to sideline. You know what I mean?
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
My favorite moments of Zach was just, broadcast viewing, watching on TV. You're seeing a play run to the right, and all of a sudden 54 comes out of the frame out of nowhere, and then just quantum leaps and makes a tackle, pops the ball out.
Right.
Just unbelievable player.
Yeah, I always go back to, young in his career when the hit on Sean Jefferson, who's a friend of mine. But at the same time, though, man, that was a tone setter, and he did that a lot. He set the tone a lot out there, and that defense set the tone a lot. And imagine if we had any type of production from the offensive side of football most of the years when those guys were at their peak. I mean, we'd be talking dynasty with us, man. But you can't dwell on hypotheticals, man. But no fault of Zach Thomas is that we didn't get the Super Bowls. That's for damn sure.
100%. Now, one quick question. Now, you were obviously there before Zach. When Zach got there, when did you know? When did you see this number 54 kid from Texas Tech and say, "Oh, we got something here"?
Well, I'm gonna tell you what. I'll go back farther than that, Sarnie.
Love it.
He played against Penn State his senior year, and I think he had like 20 tackles against us. You know what I mean? So I knew that dude was a baller at that point, right? And then he made a Walter Camp All-American banquet, and me and my buddy Kijana Carter, we're alumni of that, so we always go back for it. And he was there, and he introduced himself like, "Look, hey, I'm Zach Thomas. I know the hell you are. You're the one that tried to beat my team all by yourself, dude. You know what I mean?"
I love that.
And so when we got him in camp, I knew he was a baller. I knew how he played, how hard he played, man, and what a ferocious, competitor he was. So it was evident right away. His work ethic for one. The fact that we got him in the 5th round, I think it pushed him to be even more, even hungrier than some others would if there'd have been a higher draft pick. And so that propelled him right away to go out there to do what he always did, which is work hard, play hard, study hard. And he had a chip. Even though he was that good, he had a chip, and that chip never left his shoulder.
And I just love when he, you see that emotion, and I loved how he was thanking, the fans and saying we don't have to vent anymore because, you guys as players, former players, you see what the fans put out there. You see the support, and I just love that there's that reciprocation going into this Hall of Fame induction that it just means so much to so many. Older generation, middle generation, younger generation. My kids are thrilled because they hear the stories, So
and it's so amazing, man. Because honestly, we could probably throw a Hall of Famer in every single year from the Miami Dolphins, and there are a lot of guys that are still waiting that deserve to be in there, and they'll get in there. But for Zach, you look at some of the guys that were first ballot, the Ray Lewises, the Urlachers, Ray Lewis obviously is the greatest linebacker possibly that played the game. Mm-hmm. But when you look at him and Urlacher, the comparables, the better stats a lot of times for Zach, the all pros, all the things that the number of it's amazing. And somebody was talking about that. Well, Zach didn't have that many impact plays a lot. Are they kidding me? You talked about it just a little bit ago, man. Some of the big plays, the big hits, the fumbles, the scoop and scores, the pick six. You know what I mean? Those are the things that get you into the Hall. Those are impact plays that Zach made regularly. And so it's amazing to me that it took so long. I know he's been sitting in that finalist room for a few years now, and that realm, and finally getting in is really what it's all about, man. Because we knew it was coming, but it should have been sooner than later.
100%. It was inevitable. It's just, it's good that he's doing it now with the, the regular class. He's not pushed to the kind of the next circuit, because that would have been almost like an insult, but he's a purebred. He is a purebred Hall of Famer. So
that's right.
It's going to be a fun August. So let's talk our Fins. The 2022 Fins, it was literally up, down, up, down, up, down. It was a remarkably symmetrical year. But when you put the records together, but when you take away some injuries, and I hate saying it, Juice, it's the next man up. I know every player, every team deals with injuries. But do you think this team, if they had less significant injuries in that secondary, if obviously Tua didn't have, the concussion woes, Philadelphia might have been right with saying that they could have been that Super Bowl matchup in the preseason. Dolphins could have had that talent to get there.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. We definitely cannot talk injuries because every team goes through them. But man, significant injuries is a different word, in my opinion. I'm not going to make excuses for what we didn't get done as a team. You have to overcome those things. You did say it best, man. Next man up. But when the next man and the next man of that next man is hurt, it becomes a bit of a problem, man. When you lose, really, I mean, think about it, 4 or 5 of your starters, that you counted on to be there. That's a tough deal, especially when you lose them early in the season. When you lose an Agba, when you lose both Joneses, you know what I mean? When you lose Nick Needham at a point where Nick Needham was doing that dude that was playing inside, outside, safety, those are harder. How do you replace those guys in a 53-man roster? And who's sitting on the street that can go out there and help you with that? And those guys would be in camp somewhere. They'd be playing for somebody. So, yeah, our injury situation was rough. And then, when you look at the Super Bowl, when your QB1 is in and out of the lineup too, you can't win in this league.
Right.
It's just the way the league is set up. The Final Four teams, all their QB1s were there. And then look what happened to San Francisco. They went down to QB3 when Purdy goes out. He gives QB1 for 8 or 9 weeks, and he became that guy. And then when he's out, then you see what happens. It's just where the league is, man. So health is such a critical component of Super Bowls. And for the most part, most of these guys get through the season with at least 20 of their 22, 19 of their 22 starters that they pegged at the beginning of the season. And that's how you get there. We have to stay healthy. Easier said than done. Everybody gets banged up, but you have to try to overcome those things. But when your critical positions are impacted by injury, then it's going to be a tough road to haul.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. A lot of off-season activity is going to happen with free agency, re-signings, the draft. Obviously, you mentioned the NFL is an all-year-round thing. But for us Dolphin fans, we have a really cool opportunity to enjoy in the celebration of the 1972 perfect season. And there is a Dolphins Legends Cruise going on with MSC Cruise Line, put together by First Class Cruises. And you, sir, are one of the 35 Miami Dolphin legends aboard that thing. And are you excited? Do you do cruises often? Tell me a little bit about your aspect, and we'll talk about the whole Dolphin thing.
Well, man, I'm just blessed to be invited on this one, bro. You mentioned it, man. I mean, there's like 4 or 5 Hall of Famers going to be on there. I'm going to bring my aqua jacket just so I can try to fit in with them. You know what I mean? Yeah. Well, yeah. But dinner, I'm going to have my aqua jacket on just so I can, kind of blend in with those gold jackets that are going to be on that cruise as well. And, back when I first got here, there was a guy named Sandy Leach who used to do cruises like with the Dolphins, and that was back in '93. And for like 7 years straight, we went on cruises. Me and all my boys. I was single, didn't have any kids, so I took like all my Kajana Carter and all my buddies. We all went on this cruise, like about 8 of us. It was a blast. You know what I mean? And then ever since then, I've gone on like 3 or 4 since. Us living so close to the ports, it's really easy to get on a cruise. You can go to cruise to the Bahamas for a long weekend or whatever, whenever you want. We've done that a few times. The family reunion came down here for my family, I think in 2008. We all went on a mini cruise over to the Bahamas and came back, things like that. So we're always on the water here as much as possible when it comes to cruises, but it's great to get back on the waters with my former teammates. And that's the fun part about it. So many events they have scheduled for people and fans to interact with these guys that otherwise you wouldn't get those chances. It's like, you get, when you're on a boat, it's kind of confined. We can't run and hide from the fans. We're going to be, at the casino. We're going to be at the bar. We're going to be, on the beach, by the pool. It's going to be a lot of things where we're going to be able to really interact and enjoy a good time with people that just love the Dolphins. We all love the Dolphins as former players, and we know how much, you guys and the fans and, great job that you do covering the team, how much you guys love the team as well, man. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We can, it's kind of in the middle of this whole thing we're talking about in terms of, the NFL season. It'll be, April 2nd through April 9th. And then, once we get back, it's time for OTAs. It's always getting to mini camp, and then it's getting ready for preseason, man. So it was a nice little break for us to mingle and talk to guys and people about football and to get ready for the season to start up right after that.
And when you look at the roster, I mean, you mentioned there's gold jackets, there's aqua jackets. We got 13. We got 39. Yes, I'm not making this up. And OJ, you can confirm. Dan Marino will be on the cruise. Larry Zonka will be on the cruise. Yeah. Marino's favorite 4 receivers, including yourself.
Yeah. Me, Nat, Duke, Clayton. Yeah.
Nat Moore.
Yep.
And then, of course, for Dolphin fans, who I guess, grew up after the Marino era. You got your Ronnie Browns.
Yes, yes.
You got the Wildcat man himself. So there really is a terrific group. And I love the fact that you got Joe Rose, you got Kimbo Camper.
You gotta wait. Now you know this, Artie, that Joe Rose and Kimbo Camper, hang with those guys. They're gonna tell you some of the best, most amazing stories ever. Jim Crash Jensen's coming back in town. He's got great stories too, man. So just, it's going to be one. I'm going to sit back and get some popcorn and listen to some of these stories myself, man, because I'm in awe for one in the storytelling, but some of the things that happened back in the 80s before I got there, some of the 70s, it's amazing stuff. It really is.
You said it right there. To me, that's the value. I love, and I'm rocking my fish tank. I love what you and Seth and Preach and even with Travis on the drive time shows. When you guys go past to current, when you talk about a Tyreek or a Jalen Waddle, that to me is phenomenal. I love putting those two worlds together. So when you're going to be on a boat, maybe listening to pros tell a story about a guy who we played that's sitting next to him who can jump in and say, yo, wait. I don't remember it that way. So I really can't wait for all those. And you mentioned the activities.
Yeah.
And is Terry Kirby a cornhole player in his spare time? Did I hear that correctly?
Professional cornhole player. Yeah, so if we're on the boat playing, he's my partner already because we already established the 93 draft class. I'm number 1 pick, he's number 2 pick. We can't split us up. So I got to take the professional on my side. So
I'll tell you what.
I'm stacking my team. And you said we're hooping too, right?
Oh, I'm going to attempt to hoop. It's been a little while.
I'll bring my sneaks in. I'll bring my sneaks.
Absolutely. I'm going to bring those high tops. Can't wait for the hooping. I can't wait to see all these Dolphin fans in really one place with you guys, just talking Fins, past, present, current, whatever. And the stops, there's great stops at Nassau, in the Bahamas, which I think there's going to be a private beach party for the Dolphin crew. And then there's the Dominican Republic. There's Puerto Rico. So really an awesome bunch of stops. And what's the favorite thing? If you had to pick one thing on a cruise that you look forward to, whether it's food, entertainment, take the Dolphin stuff away, just cruising in general.
Yeah, cruising in general. I mean, the food is always incredible. It's way too much food. I'll go there. I'll come back about 10 pounds heavier. But I like some of the stops, man. I love really the private island, the private beach that they'll take us to, because really it's still confined to all of us, but it's still a lot of really good activities you can do within that. Sometimes, I love like all the ports. I've been to all these ports before because I've been cruising for a long time, but they're always something different. And like I said, I was cruising without my family before, and I'll be cruising with my family. So it's going to be a little different trip for us, So it's going to be really, really cool, man. Just, hitting the different ports, the DR and Puerto Rico, and, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, I can't wait. And I'll be putting out some articles and putting out some information about how you can get all your information if you're interested. But OJ, I really appreciate you joining in. It's always a pleasure talking football. I know you do a lot of work. One of the things that I love about all things Miami Dolphins is the off-field, the charitable, the philanthropic work that all you guys do. You have Catch 81 Foundation. You do some great work overall. You want to talk a little bit about that and any initiatives you might have coming up?
Yeah, we don't have much going on right now. We had to push our bowling event back a couple months because we have, we made some changes within the organization. And so what I'm going to end up doing is moving my bowling event this year probably to Penn State. And we're going to do an event where there were some of my alumni from the Dolphins as well as some of my former teammates at Penn State. We'll do that one of those weekends up at Penn State. And, we just keep grinding, man. Keep our toy drive was a huge success. Our book drive, our backpack drive was a huge success. And we're just going to continue to do things that, make us show our appreciation for how much love South Florida's shown us.
I love it. And catch81.org. So everyone, please check out OJ's Foundation out. If you could do anything, help out. It's always great to give back to the players and the people that have given us. I mean, if you look at my wall, I love this team. What you guys have done, it means so much to me. And to be able to share these fun stories and the future. This team has a great future.
It really
OJ.
does. It really does. So, yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm really excited. I'm really excited before we get out of here. I'm really excited for year 2 in Mike McDaniel's offense. With a lot of guys coming back, I know there's a lot of uncertainty at the running back position, but for the skilled guys, I mean, it's going to be invaluable being able to go into the second year in this offense because it's a tricky offense, very complicated, a lot of verbiage. And these guys will get that down. And I think we'll be able to be way more creative as a team because of the knowledge these guys are going to gain this offseason.
1,000%. It's going to be fun watching this team grow and build. And I will see you, sir, on April 2nd on the Seascape.
You got it, boss. Can't wait.
Thank you, Juice. Have a great one.
You too, brother.
Be well.